Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, good evening. It's morning for me. Henry says good morning. I have my window open. You'll hear the hum of the generators in the background. We are without power still. It's been, since this is the third, going on the third day, I think. This go round. Not complaining. It's very important for our safety. So welcome back to Junk Journal January. Today is day 18 and it is bright. And I'm not good at bright. I mean, white is bright. I love bright. I love light. But I wanted to step outside my comfort zone a little bit and do something with color. And I had this sitting on my table. And I was like, you know what I want to do? Because there's someone that does this. Who is it that does it? With their prints, they have it's mostly black and white, and then they put in a little bit of color. I think it's with the kids. I can't remember. If you know who that is, put it in the comments below. It's a famous artist. But I thought what I would do is go in, and where there is like white or a lighter material, add some color. So I have my gouaches out and I have some water. I really like using gouache. These colors are really bright. So I have to practice more with kind of toning them down with either like black or brown. Even white can tone certain colors, but it tends to be making them brighter. So, but since today is bright, I figured it would be good. And I'm probably going to do a few of them. So I have this book, and I got it at, I've taken the covers off because I'm going to use those for a journal. And eventually I might do actually a really large journal because I have a lot of big books. So this is like how the West was won, or West Ways. I can't remember exactly, but it has all these great pictures about when people were coming out west. And most of them are really big, but there are some smaller ones. Like there's a smaller one, kind of smaller. It's still actually pretty big. So one of the things that I thought I might do, and just for my own personal journals, not anything that I would sell or use, some of these bigger photos, copying them and shrinking them down. Because I don't want to do any copyright infringement. But if it's just something that's going to be for my own use and stay at home, then I think that would be fine. So they're really neat old pictures. I have several. Oh, look at that. That is really, but that would be good for a tall journal. You know, doing a tall skinny journal, those would be great. So they might not necessarily go in here. Oh, that's a neat one. Look at the lovely Indians. I like that one, but she has a very sad look on her face. But you know what? I just saw these flowers in here. That might be neat to brighten up. Have you noticed though too, were they not supposed to smile? I think I heard something before about how they didn't smile in pictures before, and I think that there was a reason for that. See, this, something like this I could cut down. Oh, I like this lady here. Okay, I think that is enough for now. There's so many that I could go back in and find. So this one is cute. So what I did, that's what I did with this one. This was one of those great big page ones. And I cut it down. And I think, I'll do the same with this one. Down there. Let's go over a little bit more. So then that becomes a good size, and I can straighten up those edges. That has good value still. Actually, let me just pull out my cutter. Do a rough cut around. And then I'll show you. I think you can understand what I'm talking about. I will tell you, I have been loving this Junk Journal January. As I've mentioned before, I've never done anything with prompts, and I really feel like having the prompts, and there's several, no, let me finish that sentence. Having the prompts has really boosted my creativity. And there are several other challenges that I've heard of in the past, but have just never done. And so I think that it might be something I go back and do because it has just made me really think. And I mean, I call it a challenge, and it has really challenged me, and I really, really like it. Like, if it wasn't for the prompt bright, I probably wouldn't have thought to do something like this. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, let's. But yeah, it's something that I've really, really been enjoying. Have you gals done a lot of challenges? What do you think? I don't regret, because everything's about timing in life, but I definitely want to do more. I wish I would have started doing these sooner. I guess that's what I was gonna say. I really like these for a tall journal, and since I'm thinking of it, let me go ahead these out, and then we'll get into it. Yeah, sorry if the generator noise bothers anybody, but that is how we all have power and electricity right now. Hopefully the winds are going to die down. We thought we might be getting power back last night, but it did not happen, and it has still been very windy. Okay, so here's my images. This is the first one that I was going to do. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. So I have just a variety of different size brushes because I wasn't sure. I think I'm going to start out with this flat one. And let's see, let's come in here with this color. on the guy's hat. It's not super bright, but it's definitely brighter. And get my wet wipes here. And then let's pick like one of these brighter pinks. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this almost. I love the black and whites and the neutrals. Let's go in here and do the Shaw. So, have you guys ever used the wash paint? I really like it because it's like a more opaque watercolor. So there's her Shaw. And then I think, I'm assuming this is mom and grandma, grandson. And then let's go in and do a yellow. On the mom's shirt. And that bow, it looks to me like that bow is in a different pattern. So I'm not gonna I don't want it on the black part. I went a little too far. There's just a little bit right there. The shadow. One thing too, when you go in and you do different kinds of things like this, at least for me, I start seeing the shapes of stuff. You know, like, oh, that's shadows from the wrinkles and stuff like that. So I think it's always good to be looking at things in a different light so that you can start to understand the composition of shadows. Shadows are such an important part of painting. I'm gonna go in with a brighter color on his hat. And these colors, like I said, you can see these are very bright colors. There we go. Okay, and that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let that dry. And then I'll move on to the next one. So like, wow, very bright, very different. But I thought, let's challenge myself here. And I knew these colors were super, super bright. So let's see, what do I want to do with her? I think because the dove represents the Holy Spirit, that's what I want to highlight in this. And I want to come in with this. Oh, actually, I'm going to do this purple color I have. So this is a bright purple. But this is like super fun. Adding a little bit of color to these black and whites. Just trying to make my brush strokes make sense so it looks like fur. So the reason I picked purple for this, because I said it's representing the Holy Spirit, and purple is a royal color. So that's why I like that. Yeah. Because I really like this. Just simple like that. Okay, so then let's go on to the gentleman. Let's see, what do we want to do here? I kind of think it'd be neat to do the polka dots, but I also think that would be very difficult to just get the polka dots. But let's see what I can do. Kind of want like a turquoisey color. Oh, that's working. This will definitely take some time. Oh, very interesting. I'm liking it. It's hard to see these little polka dots here. And I'm not being perfect with it. So how is everyone doing? How is your new year? How is your winter? Probably could have picked something not as tedious. And I'm not doing them perfect. Just giving little hints of the color. And I can always go back in. These dots are hard to see there. Oh, that is actually very neat looking. Sometimes it's the details. It's the small little details. In life, in art, the smallest little touch of something can have a big impact. How are your New Year's resolutions going? Your intentions? I hope that whatever intentions you set for the new year, that they're going well, that they're being true to. See here, I can't see any of the dots because of the shadow, so I'm just kind of putting in my own. But I hope that whatever it is that you are focusing on or working on, I hope you're being very successful with it. Okay, there we go. Simple little bits of color. Very neat. Okay, let's just do a couple more and then we'll look at them. Oh, I know what I wanted to do here on this one. So here I can see some flowers right here, and I really want to focus on those flowers. I am going to go in with a pastel pink, but it is still going to brighten up this picture. And then there's some down here. I don't know if those are or not, but I'm going to put them in there. And then it looks like there's some more back here. Oops. I think actually on this one here, doing the flowers, even though this woman looks not happy, which back then it was a really rough life. There's a lot of loss and challenges. I think this just shows there's always life, even in our darkest moments. There's always hope and positivity and joy that we can find. And I think I actually want to come in and do some of this grass also. This is quite bright, quite a bright green. There. I feel like it just gives a little hope in this photo. Let's do this one next. Let's go unexpected, because I would expect to do something on her, but there's a covering over the horse. So let's see if I can get, it's hard to see, it's like a lace almost. See what it looks like if I can put it in some red. So this, got too much water. There we go. It's not sticking as well, but that's okay because I just want it to be a little bit of the color. Because this is a glossy finish paper. So that's one thing that's nice about the gouache paint, is that unlike watercolor, it will adhere to more things. Okay, so now, because I got a little carried away with that red, I'm gonna come back in and just try to touch up with a little bit of white. There we go. almost like I'm erasing the red. That's the other thing with the wash. You have a white that is opaque. So when you're doing, like when you're doing watercolor paintings, even combining the, oops, I put it in the red. Even combining wash and watercolor, or using, you can really use the wash like watercolor. It will act very similar. But then when you want to build up a layer, you can also do that. Okay, I just want to smooth out some of this red. And you can re-wet it, pull it off. There's all kinds of things you can do with it. So if you haven't worked with wash, and you can get, this is just a super inexpensive set from Amazon. Okay, there we go. Kind of coming in and just where it was kind of blotchy. I'm just kind of taking some of that off. So there we go. Now it looks like the fabric that's on top of the horse is red. Okay, so this is nice and dry now. And I know bright is the theme here. This is a little too bright for me though. So again, I'm going to come in, I can re-wet this and pull it back, especially since this is on a glossy finish too. Now on watercolor paper, let me get a bigger brush to do what I'm doing here. On watercolor paper, you can still, once it's dried, pull it back a little bit, but not as much. But because this is a glossy finish, it's really allowing that to happen. And I didn't put any gesso down. So I'm just coming in and pulling that back a little bit. Give me my square one again, because it's created a hard line here that I don't know if you can see, and I just want to soften these hard lines and hard edges and have those blend a little bit more. So then I'm coming in with the brush, almost kind of, it's still wet, but it's a little bit, it's not fully saturated, so it's allowing me to put in some texture, like almost like a woven fabric. So even though that color's really bright, I can still come in and soften it. So I don't know if you can see the brush strokes that I'm trying to get in there. Okay, definitely still bright, like that a lot better. And that's the thing, like I always talk about, you know, art is just such a process of layers, like life. You know, we don't get it. We don't always get life right the first time, right? But we don't give up either. Come in here and take away some of this yellow that got on the bow. Okay. And then I'm going to come back in, keep softening. So we have the yellow, we have the pink. It's still bright, but to me, if it's like I was talking about in when I was sent my video about when you're aging the magazine pictures, that if you don't have the right photo, the right context, the images in the background, it doesn't make sense that it's old looking, right? So that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to add the color in, but also not make it look not appropriate for the time. So it's a faded photo, so the color should be somewhat faded. Does that make sense? So that it doesn't look fake. I don't want it to look like a little kid got in here with the markers. Not that there's anything wrong with what little kids do with markers. It's fabulous. But I still want it to look appropriate. There we go. Yes, that looks way better. It's still got bright colors, but it looks more appropriate to the photo. So I'm happy with that now. There we go. Yes, love it. And then let's come back in here. Let's readjust this one. I'm going to try something different here. See, it's all about different techniques. Okay, so then again, I like that better. That to me makes more sense. Might be able to go a little bit more color in here with adding texture to the wings. There we go. Okay, so I like that one better too. The horse, I'm okay with the horse because I didn't go super heavy-handed on that one. And then here, the pink I like. I'm just going to come in here and dab out some of this green. Especially this color when it's on top of the black, then it doesn't look right. Because it is an opaque color, but you wouldn't have color on top of black. Okay, so there's that one. And then here, this isn't so bright, but I'm going to just dab some water and then come in and dab it a little bit to tamp it down, just a little bit. And I got to clean up these edges here where I just made a mess. I don't want the color bleeding. Sometimes I want the color to bleed on to stuff, but not in this instance. It doesn't make sense. Okay. So then, gosh, I really like that one. And this one. I think those two are my favorite. Maybe I'll do some more work on these other ones later. Yeah, I just want to dab that one a little bit because I got it a little too much on the gray areas and not where it was just white. Same thing like here and here. But yeah, I encourage you to just experiment and have fun. And then, where's my journal? Okay. So she, oh, is she too big? She's a little bit big there. So let me cut down this edge. And I think I'm just going to glue it in and add to the page itself. Glue stick. Let me turn her over. So yeah, so it's adding some, I added bright colors to some vintage photos, even though they're out of a book, but they're still a vintage image. Well, actually, it's an antique image because these images are quite old. I'm just going to add her fully to the page there. Oh. And then I did not put that in right. And then over here, I mean, I could turn this into a journaling card, but I like the idea of adding something directly to these pages for interest. And this one has the rough edge of where it was torn out of the, I like the collage background on these. Yeah, it has the rough edge of where it was torn out of the book. And I like that. Okay. So there we have it. Oops. Yeah, so it kind of gives that photo album feel to the book. Oh, I did not get enough glue there. So I hope you liked today's video. Give it a try. Yeah, and like I said, I know it didn't stay super, super bright, but it just didn't look, it didn't fit the image to leave it completely bright as I did at first. So I hope that makes sense to all of you. I'm really happy with them. I like them just in the book, as if you just glued down photos of your family. So I think that is it for this video. Take a deep breath. Take a moment just to relax and be at peace with me. Today, my prayer for everyone watching this video is that whatever your goals are, whatever your New Year's resolutions were, whatever your New Year's intentions are, whatever new direction you're choosing to go in, I pray that it aligns with the divine will of God, and I pray that you are successful in your endeavors. I pray that they are rightly ordered and that you are on the right path and that you have the strength and perseverance to accomplish your goals. Until next time, love always, Savannah.